is publishing.
Does it make noise on your thing every time I do that? Freaking press that shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All Sports Podcast. We have a big one for you today. UFC 255 is announced. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje for UFC 255 in October on the 24th. Welcome to the All Sports Podcast, looking to bring you the best and most entertaining podcast about sports there is around. We hope you respect our opinions as we look to respect yours. This podcast is for entertainment and analytical purposes only and made to have fun. Leave us your thoughts of our topics and comments in the comment section below. We hope you will enjoy the podcast, like the videos, and subscribe to the channel. My name is Jonah. My colleague is Gentry. We have been finally waiting for this, and it has finally came about. Justin Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Justin Gaethje wants his fight with Khabib, and he now has it. What is your thoughts, my good friend?
I'm excited, but the main thing right now, I know it just come out today, so it'll be hard to clear location due to coronavirus. But I think in September there'll be a way better understanding on this pandemic, so they may be able to do it with maybe even a little bit of a crowd. But that's being very hopeful.
Yeah, we hope that
for this fight.
Yeah, we hope that everything can finally clear up by October. Maybe a cure will be found. Maybe we can have some fans in the crowd for this big fight. UFC 255 once again, October 24th, Saturday. Pay-per-view on ESPN Plus. Looking at the fighters, Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov sitting at 28-0 record. He is 5'10 with the 70-inch reach, 155. His stance is the orthodox, same for Gaethje, but he is 22-2, 5'11, 155 with a 70-inch reach. He has won his past 4 fights, his big one being against Tony Ferguson to be the interim lightweight champion. He didn't want anything to do with that belt. He threw it to the ground, said he wants the real one, and he now has it. As for the champ, Khabib Nurmagomedov, he is obviously 28-0. His last fight to Dustin Poirier, won with a submission for a rear naked choke in the third round of 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And the fight before that, the infamous Khabib versus McGregor fight. Khabib looking like the best lightweight there is around. And what are your thoughts on how so far this fight will go? Kind of early, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Khabib's the best lightweight of all time and one of the best MMA fighters of all time. And a lot of people, if you break down his record, some of them fights in the beginning, there's like a lot of people you wouldn't recognize or know if you didn't really know the sport. Like I don't know, but people like Joe Rogan would know and be able to analyze. But being that he's beaten Poirier, he's beaten Michael Johnson, which some people call a journeyman. Still, he's pretty good, pretty dang good, and he's beaten Conor. So he's got some big wins in there. I mean, I think it's just unprecedented because he's fought in over 52 or 53 rounds and he's never lost a round. If he did lose a round, it was the first round of the McGregor fight, which he dominated the rest of the way, so it wasn't even in question. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched. I looked at that
Never.
fight, and it's just like I've never seen McGregor. Obviously, McGregor has a couple of losses, but just big talk McGregor just gets absolutely destroyed by this guy Khabib, and Khabib just makes him look like his pet, and it's amazing how he fights. He fights strategically. He fights to win for that title. As for Justin Gaethje, for me, just watching him do what he did to Tony Ferguson, and props to Tony Ferguson for how long he lasted, but man, Justin Gaethje just absolutely tore him to bits. I think he rightfully deserves this fight based off of how he fought that. That is my opinion, but I think we'll have a good one come October.
I'm not saying that because I think John Jones to go through all this stuff, and this is not what this video is about. But even John Jones, like the Dominic Reyes fight, some people had it 3-2 in the first Gus fight. They had that 3-2 as well. Like Khabib is so freaking dominant that at most he's lost a round, and even then you're kind of like, I don't really think he lost it. I've never seen somebody like this freaking 28 fights and never lost a round. That's freaking insane.
That's just straight up dominance in the octagon. I mean, that's what you got to do. And if you do that, then you can't ever lose. Looking at more stuff, Khabib is likes to go to the takedown. Obviously, he is a fan of the submissions. He has one knockout TKO on Darrell Horcher, another one on Thiago Tavares. Other than these, his last fights were either submissions or unanimous decisions. I mean, he's just dominant in there.
Which he just has I mean, this is all due to him and his skill and his coach and stuff. And God bless him for his late great dad passing away. I know that's hard for him because that was a lot of his drive. And also, now I think he's saying he's going to retire at 30, because that's what his dad wanted him to do. So, yeah. That's true.
From a fan standpoint, we hope that is not the case. We want him to go as long as possible, but out of respect, it's probably the best for Khabib to do as his father wishes. Again, rest in peace to his father. Condolences from the All Sports Podcast goes out to the Nurmagomedov family. But we got a fight to watch come October. Justin Gaethje has won 4 in a row, as I have previously said. He lost to Dustin Poirier, which Khabib Nurmagomedov has recently beat on September 7th of 2019. That kind of stands out. Is there any kind of ups that Khabib has over Gaethje being the true champ, as Justin is the interim champ?
I'd say just like the ground game, of course. Like, I mean, of course, like that ground, but I don't know how big of an advantage that is, being that Gaethje is a Division II wrestler, and all this is going down. He's been going to wrestling tournaments, and he's finished in like the top 5 multiple times. So he's trying to keep that craft sharp. Because the thing with wrestling that all the UFC greats talk about, you can be the best wrestler in the world, but if you get lazy and don't practice it every day, you become really bad. But he's keeping that craft sharp. But the big thing Khabib has is submissions, and I'd say top mount specifically, or like just ground dominance, being able to hold somebody there. But as far as like the clinch, I don't really know how to grade that for either one of them. I'd say that's like I'd almost throw that out, but then the striking is not even comparable. So it's kind of like Khabib has a tremendous ground advantage, and then Gaethje has the tremendous stand-up advantage. So that's kind of my thing there.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering your thoughts on just watching Gaethje just stand up with Tony Ferguson. How will he can he stay up, as you say, Khabib can kind of work?
On mute. I just let you know that in case you didn't know.
I appreciate that. I think the thing heard me, but how do you feel about, because we saw Khabib stand up with Tony Ferguson? Do you think Gaethje stood up with Tony Ferguson? Do you think Gaethje can kind of stay up and get away from that dominant top mountain ground game of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and kind of go into a boxing kind of fight with him and stand up with him, as we saw with Tony Ferguson?
I think he can, but at the same time, it's going to be a whole different dynamic. He's going to be so, I don't want to say scared, because these are grown men and they're like freaking bad to the bone, but he's going to be fearful of the takedown. So Khabib might be able to clip him with 1 or 2. Who knows? But the big thing is Gaethje, every time he gets taken down, he flops up just like a fish. He slides off and gets right back up. he's very good at doing that and finding his way out. The big thing with him is he needs to watch his arms, make sure they don't get caught in a weird angle for a Kimura, or most importantly, if he gets caught up against a cage, some way, somehow, just try to find a way not to give up your neck. Because if you give up your neck, you're absolutely screwed. That's like his favorite submission is the rear naked choke. But that's the big thing. Is he can afford to get taken down many times as long as he don't get caught up against the cage. Because if you notice, that's Khabib's ultimate weapon. Again, Khabib's a world class wrestler, but not even world class. He's like one of a kind. But if you pay attention to the patterns, 9 times out of 10, he's going to have you up against the cage and use that as a weapon. Nobody's ever really been able to keep him away from the cage. So if he is able to keep him away from the cage at all, it might be an insane fight.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be just a matter of who who's just gonna dominate in that fight. Because I don't think there could be one clear winner. I could see it going 5 rounds. It just depends on if Nurmagomedov gets on the ground. I mean, how can Justin Gaethje survive that? Looking at his losses, he lost to a knockout TKO from a punch and a knockout TKO from a knee from Poirier and Eddie Alvarez. So he lost to knockouts. He didn't submit. Those are his losses. He has not submit. So
that was before he fixed his defense, which again is kind of the dynamic where you just kind of wonder again because he's so good at taking people down, but you're not going to have to worry about getting knocked out by Khabib. Like, again, I just mentioned this dude in the GOAT conversation. He is, no doubt about it. But his stand-up game, I wouldn't call it weak, but it's a little below average. And the only reason it's even not what's the word, not bad is because again he's so good at wrestling that you're kind of scared of the takedowns, so you might get clipped. But again, who knows how good of a striker he actually is? He might be in the gym grinding. His opponents just never give him that much of a challenge, so you're never able to see how good of a striker he is.
right. Um, it's been a wild ride for Gaethje and Nurmagomedov. How do you think this fight's going to play out? We'll go ahead and just get into the predictions. We'll come back to it in October, but your early predictions before everything else. What are your thoughts before we get to October?
The thing I want to point out real quick before I give my prediction is both of those losses that Gaethje had, that was before he fixed his defense, because him and his coach had talked about how he was being too aggressive and he was throwing like straight power punches and not defending. He was just worried about offense. So I feel like this is going to be a whole different Gaethje. And I don't even want to talk about this in this light because, like I said, God bless him and his family. This is not being negative. This is just an actual thought you have to think about. Being that Khabib was so close with his dad and how much of a family man he is, and how much of a class act he is, you got to think about how much of his heart is going to be into this actual fight, which I'm assuming it's going to be 100% because he's going to do it for his dad. But you never know. He might not have that same drive, being that he doesn't have his absolute role model and best friend with him this time going to the cage, which, from my faith, he'll be watching above, I believe. But you know what I mean. He might not have that same drive that he's always had.
Right.
So it's a question.
Yeah. Fight with the heart, obviously, fighting for his dad. Do you think that enough in its own self will be enough to get past Justin Gaethje?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, the way I see. I mean, this is just insane for me to even say, but the only way Gaethje's gonna win is in the first. I'd say the first 3 rounds. After that, you ain't. I mean, I'm not questioning his cardio because he clearly showed it against Tony, like clearly. In all his past fights, he has shown that he is very good at keeping a great cardio. But my thing is, if you make it past 3 rounds with Khabib, he's gonna use his legs and tie up yours. He's gonna put all his body weight on your body. He's gonna gas you up. You're gonna have little to no stamina. You're gonna be freaking tired as crap from him going for multiple submissions and just reversing you the whole time. So, like, if I was to predict this for Gaethje, it's got to be inside 3 rounds and you got to land. I don't think you're going to beat Khabib from like one big strike and then he's going to be rocked. I think you got to land like some hellacious combos, like back to back to back, something like crazy. Maybe like a spinning head kick or a spinning back fist. I mean, you could knock him with that, and then you'd have to again have multiple combos. But at the same time, I just don't see a way that Khabib could. I can't imagine in my head a way to lose. I'm trying to, but I can't.
I think, like you say, Justin Gaethje's gonna have to go early. I think Gaethje's going to have to go first round, go hard. He showed that he went 5 rounds with Ferguson, but Ferguson wasn't fully in that fight, in my opinion. If Khabib gets on top and starts to tire out Justin Gaethje, then it'll just be easier for the champ to win that fight.
Yeah, and also if it goes to a decision, there's no way in heck that Gaethje's gonna win. So
he would have to be fighting the way he did against Ferguson, and Khabib would literally have to not just land anything, not get any takedowns. Because if you go to a decision in UFC, it's obviously that champion. It goes for the champion to win.
So they get the championship favor. So I mean, which they deserve, in my opinion. Other people disagree strongly, but I agree strongly. If you're the champion and it's that close, I think you should just go back to the champ.
I agree as well. I mean, you're the one that have the belt. You earned the belt at first. If you're if you are the contender, you should be fighting. You should be earning that belt. You should absolutely destroy the champion to rightfully say, "Hey, judges, score me as the winner." And that's what Gaethje has to do. He has to dominate, just like he did Ferguson. But that's going to be a little bit harder to do with Khabib Nurmagomedov, the lightweight champion. Not any other news for UFC 255 as of right now. Just this fight was released today, July 28th of 2020. Final thoughts. Early prediction. What is it? What round? How is it going to go?
Mine would be Khabib late in round 3 by submission, preferably. Or not preferably, I don't know if I said most likely by a rear naked choke. That's like his favorite submission.
As of right now, for this early prediction, for me, I'm going to go off the wall. I will say that Khabib is not ready. He does not have his father. He is kind of out of his mind. I don't think he will kind of be ready for it. Granted, he accepted the fight. But I think Justin Gaethje can get in there. Maybe not round 1, but round 2, he'll get in there, get a KO, TKO on Khabib. Khabib will just kind of just lay there. Obviously, he'll be a fighting champ, but not this time around for Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje will pound him, and I think Justin Gaethje wins by knockout, TKO. In the round 2, maybe round 1 if he can get the early heavy strikes. Any last thoughts for the UFC?
I know this doesn't relate to anything inside the octagon, but it's funny because Gaethje and Khabib both have the same agent. I think that's why the negotiations went so smoothly. Because Gaethje sent out a message. I think their agent said, he just said, "I have no idea what you're going through right now, but I can imagine how much pain you're in." So he just told him to take his time. And now today, here we are. They have signed. I don't know if they've officially signed it, but they've come to an agreement on the date. I think Dana will say something else when they officially sign the documents. But yeah. It's a funny little thing how they had the same age, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Interesting fact from my colleague. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only news we have for UFC 245. This has been the All Sports Podcast. We hope that you have liked this video. Make sure you like the podcast. Leave us your thoughts of any other topics you may want to hear for sports. It could be anything. Leave it in the comment section below. We'll make a video about it and we will get it out to you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Again, we're looking to bring you the best and most entertaining podcast of sports there's around. We hope that you have respected our opinions. We look to respect yours in the comments. Again, we hope that you were entertained. We hope you heard the analytical side of it. This has been Jonah and my colleague Jen.